Hello, welcome to Healing Sense RMT Yoga. I am the RMT with the Healing Sense, and today I have a routine that is mostly standing against the wall, using the wall for a little bit of balance or support, or you can use a chair that has a tall back as well. Should be a lot easier on the joints, the wrists, knees. A lot of these postures are usually done on the floor in order to activate the certain muscles, but we can do it in an easier way. So today we're just going to start sitting on your favorite chair or couch, or you can sit on the floor. And we'll just start to pay attention to our exhales, feeling all of our abdominal muscles at the end of the exhale. When you think you have no more air left, giving an extra little push and feeling that contraction all the way around, all of these muscles here. We're going to keep that sensation, that focus on the activation of all of the abdominal muscles as we move through our practice today. So you can have your hands here, breathing deep into your hands, trying to see if you can use all this breath that you're breathing in to push your hands away from your body, like you're really trying to get so much air that you're going to expand into your hands. And then exhaling like you're blowing out a candle all the way right to the end of that breath. And feeling underneath your fingers that contraction of all of these really important and strong muscles. And it might take time to work on getting that full breath. That's okay. We'll start to move the arms a little bit, warm them up. We'll inhale, bring them all the way up overhead, or as far overhead as you can. If this is as far as your shoulders will take you, that's okay. And exhale, palms facing down, blowing out that candle as we let the arms come down side to side. Palms up, inhale, arms as far up as they'll go. Just making sure that the shoulder feels okay here. Your shoulder's not coming up right into your ear. And palms down, exhale. One more time, big inhale, palms overhead. Still breathing into that lower abdomen here. And exhale. Really feel the shoulder blades coming back and together, coming close to the spine as the arms come all the way down, opening the chest a little bit here. And then we'll inhale, let the arms come up. This time, if you can bring the fingers together, you might need to bend the elbows, and that's okay. Maybe they come just to the sides of the head. Wherever is comfortable for you, keep the hands here or here. Maybe interlace the fingers and just let them rest. Stand really, really tall or sit really, really tall here. And then we'll inhale, lift the arms up a little bit higher as though you've got a string attached to your knuckles and the top of your head, and you're pulling your spine a little taller. And then we'll exhale, twist a little bit over to the right, using all of these abdominal muscles. So you're not going to tilt very far. I'm not even going 45 degrees here. I don't even think I'm going 20 degrees. Keeping that string tall, inhale through center. And exhale, a little twist over to the left. Still blowing out that candle. Inhale to center. Exhale, a little twist to the right. This time, see if you can look towards your right elbow. And then inhale through center again. Exhale, little twist over to the left. Look towards the left elbow. Inhale to center, lift the arms up. And exhale, let them come back down to your sides. So you can keep your right hand now either on the side of your chair, just off the side, or even on top of the right thigh. We'll inhale the left arm up. Keep your spine lifted here, that string pulling your spine really tall. And then exhale, just a little side bend over to the right. So just a little bit of a stretch in the left side here, maybe the shoulder. You might feel it a little more in the hip. Inhale, coming to sitting straight. And exhale, let that left palm turn down as this hand leads the arm all the way down. And switch. Inhale, bringing the right arm up. And exhale, little tilt over. Stretching out the right side. Breathing into these ribs, the side of the chest here for a moment. And inhale to center. And exhale, palm down. Let that right hand lead the arm all the way down as you exhale. And we'll bring both hands just to the tops of the knees. Let the right ear come to the right shoulder. And then tucking your chin into this little crevasse in your sternum. Coming through very slowly, just a little half neck roll over to bring the left ear to the left shoulder. Pause here for a moment. And then tuck your chin in again and little half roll to the other side. And we'll do one more each side, just getting the forward part of this circle here. Warming up all of the neck and shoulder muscles. And then coming back to center, one more breath here. Just find that inhale. Put your hands on your lower abdomen. Breathe into your hands. Big inhale through the nose. And a slow, controlled exhale out of the mouth. Right to the end of that breath. And then an extra little bit more. Really feel that contraction here. And then we'll stand up and we'll go over to the wall. So when you come to your wall, find your fingers just about at chest height. So coming just in front of the shoulders. And we'll bring them right up to the wall, keeping your elbows just a little bit bent here. So they don't have to be fully straight, especially if you tend to hyperextend. Keep a little bit of a bend. Make sure your feet, your ankles are underneath your hips. Hips are underneath the shoulders. And we'll just stay here for a moment. And then we're going to start to activate a little bit with these shoulders. Shoulder blades come together. See if you can pinch them back towards the spine. Like they have to hold the spine in place. And then push the wall away from you. You might feel your shoulder blades slide away from the spine. You might feel just a little bit longer in your arms here. And then bring shoulder blades back and together. And push away from the wall. Let the shoulder blades slide out a little bit. One more time, bringing the shoulder blades right up towards the spine. And then pushing away. Then we'll bend the elbows and step in just a little bit. Just kind of scoot your feet forward until you feel comfortable in this position. We're going to do a couple push-ups. So making sure that when you lean forward, your hands aren't going to be too high up or too high down. You want your shoulders to come in line with your fingers as you come down towards the wall. They might not be perfect, but as long as they're not, way down here or way up here, you'll probably be okay. Just make sure that your fingers are somewhat in line with the fronts of your shoulders. And we'll keep that exhale, that really strong core activation here. You can keep a little bit of a bend just in the knees, just again to make sure you're not hyperextending and locking. And keep your head to heel, one straight line here. So your whole body is staying in a straight line. As we inhale, bend the elbows, let your forehead come towards the wall. Maybe it touches, maybe it doesn't. And on your exhale, blow yourself away from the wall. So really feeling that contraction in the abdominal muscles, keeping your back straight and keeping a little bit of a bend in the knees. We'll inhale towards the wall again. Exhale, push away, blow away. Arms don't have to come fully straight here. One more time, inhale, bending the elbows, keeping them close to your body. And exhale. Then we'll bring the hands a little bit closer together. We're going to bring the thumb and the pointer finger together, making a triangle here. And we'll keep that triangle right close to the chest. So again, fingers kind of coming in line with the shoulders. This time they might be a little bit higher. Maybe you're having a little bit of trouble getting them right in front of the sternum. That's okay. They can be a little bit higher for this one. And this time, instead of the elbows coming close to the body, we're going to let them come out at about a 45-degree angle. Keeping those fingers together. So come to the wall, make sure that your feet are under your hips. Find your core strength, keep your head to heels, one straight line. And we'll inhale, bend the elbows out to your 45-degree angle. Bring the shoulder blades back and together as your forehead comes to the wall. And then exhale, blow into that triangle as you push away from the wall. One more time. Inhale, coming in nice and slowly all the way. And exhale, blow away from the wall. Now we'll come back to our first position with the hands here, but this time just for a little bit of stability. We'll start to move the hips, start to wake up our glutes, our hamstrings a little bit, maybe our core on the oblique side. So bring your hands to a nice stable position here, and we're going to transfer the weight onto your left foot, or the foot furthest away from me, and just pop that right foot back. So it's not going to come very far off the ground. It doesn't even have to come off the ground at all. If I'm just using my glutes, we're just trying to use these muscles here for this one. That's about as far as I'm going to get. I can't get much further than that without activating other muscles or making my lower back really, really work here. And we don't want the lower back to work. We want the glutes to work. So just popping that foot as far back as you can. Maybe the toes come up a little bit. Maybe the toes just sort of hang out for a little balance. And then bringing it back in. We'll shift the weight onto that right foot and pop the left side out. So just a little behind you, straight out. Activating with those glutes, reaching with the heel. You can point the toes if you want to, but you don't have to. And letting it come back in. Again, on the right side. So transfer the weight to the left. And push back here. This time, maybe your toes stay on the ground, but we're going to very, very slowly bring that leg out to the side instead. So we're going to come all the way, making a half circle here. Toes can stay up or they can stay down. And then we'll very slowly bring it back. And back through center. And we'll do the left side. So bringing it straight back behind you first. And then a half circle out to the left. Or a quarter circle. And then very slowly bringing it back. And to center. We'll bring the hands back to our triangle position and do one tricep wall push-up here. Find your line from head to heels, and we'll inhale, bending the elbows at the 45-degree angle. Head maybe comes all the way to the wall. Exhale, blowing away. We'll come back to that push-up position, hands nice and sturdy here. Shift your weight onto your left side, and we'll pop that right foot back, just straight out behind, using those glute muscles. So trying to focus on just using the hip hinge, really trying if we can just get the glute to activate here. And keeping your core really strong. Every exhale, you're still finding that activation, because we're still challenging our abdominals here a little bit. Back is working, but we don't want it to work all the time. And then we'll bend that knee. Bring your heel as close to your glute as you can. And very slowly bring that foot down. Keeping that glute activated just for that last second. And then back to standing. We'll do the left side. So transferring your weight to your right leg. Letting that left foot drift back. That glute lifts the leg as far as it can go. Might only be like a little bit behind. That's okay. As far as you can go before your back starts to compensate or it hurts. And then very, very slowly bend that left knee. Try and get that left heel towards your left glute. It's a physiological impossibility. It's fine. And then release. Back to your regular standing position. Find your triangle again. One tricep wall push-up here. Inhale as you come down. Or come forward, I guess. And exhale. Back to center. Bringing the hands out again. Just for that stability. Transfer your weight onto your left. This time, we're going to bring that right foot back. And then we're going to bend the knee, bringing that heel up towards that right side glute. And then see if you can bring your right knee as far out to the side as you can. So your hips might scream a little bit at you here if you're not used to this. You're going to really feel it on the side. Your knee doesn't have to come out that far. It can just come out a little bit further than usual. But try and see if you can keep your knee lifted higher than that heel. And how high can you possibly get it? And then coming back down through center, coming through your glute hold. Releasing the foot first, letting that knee come down, keeping that glute activated for that last second, and then back to standing. Then we'll take the left side. So again, letting that glute pop your leg out first, bending the left heel, bringing it towards the left glute, and then seeing if you can get that left knee to come out to the side. Maybe you can lift it up a little higher, and maybe not. And we'll come back through that centered position. Very slowly straightening that knee, keeping that glute activated for the last moment. And then release. This time, keep your hands in front of the shoulders. Regular push-up, elbows coming in close to the body. Inhale, come to the wall. And exhale. Blow yourself back to your standing position. All right, we're going to do a couple more here. This time, we're going to come right out to the side. So bring that right foot out. Keeping your weight on your left side here. Bend the knee and see if you can bring it all the way up to your right elbow. So it might come a little bit more to the front, but see how far out to the side you can keep it. You might come right through center. You might come just a little bit halfway. Maybe you can come all the way up and actually tap your right knee to your right elbow here. And bring it down. Back out to the side for one moment. And then we'll take the left. Left side coming out. And then bend the knee. See how close you can get it to your left elbow. Maybe it comes all the way up. Maybe it just drifts towards the wall. However high you get it, keep those exhales, keep that core activation. And then very slowly letting the knee come down, letting that leg come out to the side. And coming back to center. One regular wall push-up here. Inhale, coming to the wall. And exhale. Back and away. We'll take a little break from the wall here, just a couple shoulder circles. Especially if you're not used to doing any kind of push-up. This can be a lot right away. It can be a lot for the hips if they're not used to this sideways kind of movement. And then maybe just a few arm circles. Letting everything take a moment. And then you have a choice here. You can either come back to the wall or you can come to use your chair. So I moved mine out of the way. So if you're using a chair, it can have a high back. Wall is going to be level 1. High back of chair will be level 2. And the seat of the chair will be the 3rd level. So depending on how you're feeling on a particular day, we'll just start with the wall first. We're going to transfer the weight onto the left. And this time, when we keep our head to heel connection, it's only going to be on one side. So we'll do the right leg first. So your head, all the way down to your right heel, is going to stay in one line. Your left hip is going to be the fulcrum that line moves around. So remember, we're really pressing out of the floor on the left side. So we want to make sure that when we lift up and we start moving, we don't start to fall and that fulcrum goes out to the side. You want to make sure you're really pushing against the floor like you're about to lift and jump out of that one foot, your one leg. You can keep a little bit of a bend in this knee still, your standing leg. But we're going to hold on to whatever you need to hold on to just for a little bit of balance. And we'll start to slide that right leg back, activating with the glute and a little bit of that inner hamstring rather than the outer thigh, just a little bit of the inner thigh here. And as that right leg goes back, your front is also going to come forward. So it's going to give you a little bit of counterweight. And we're going to try to keep the hips even. So as your right heel comes out, your head comes forward. This is one line here. So you might be just doing a little bit of this nodding donkey business here against the wall. And you might be doing it maybe coming down a little bit further with the chair. Just make sure that as you are coming down into this position, that you're not letting your right side open up. It's a totally different move. So you want to keep both sides of your hips even. And we usually do that by focusing on the side that we're lifting, trying to bring that back down, because the tendency is going to be to lift that right leg and open up, and that's really going to hurt your lower back here. So we want to make sure that we're lifting with the glute and the inner right thigh, and bringing that right hip a little bit more forward and down. So you can have one hand on the chair and one hand just kind of checking your hips maybe. Just to make sure that that hip's not doing anything too funny. And then we'll switch. So now head to the left heel is going to be one line, and your right hip is going to be your fulcrum. So we'll be putting our weight onto our right foot, holding on to whatever you need to hold on to for balance. Keeping that core activated. Every exhale, still feeling that little crunch, feeling your belly button pulling all the way back towards your lower spine, and just like an inch higher than where it is on the other side. So and trying our nodding donkey on the left. Again, making sure that that left leg isn't flying out to the side. We want to be lifting with that inner thigh. And if you're feeling confident, or you're fully capable, you have a warrior 3 in your practice that you've been working towards, you can start to come all the way down maybe to the chair or your coffee table. Starting to come to this lift. Remembering to keep pressing into the ground with your standing leg. The base of that big toe, really feeling activation there, as well as through the pinky side and the heel. Making sure that that whole foot is very, very active. And then we will return to our seated position to finish up our stretches. Okay, so coming back to our seated position, we're going to take one leg and cross it over. If you can't cross your leg all the way over, you can tuck the ankle just back and behind the other one instead. So totally up to you which version is more comfortable for your knees, your hips, your back. And then from here, almost like we're tilting the pelvis, so hips and head, again, one line as best as we can, but instead of just tilting the hips and letting the lower back curve here, we're going to tilt the hips and let the spine come forward. So see how far forward you can get. And then coming into a little bit more of a fold. If you feel like you can fold all the way over this crossed leg, then instead of crossing the knee, bring your ankle to the top of that knee. Pull your toes towards your bent knee here. Drop that knee as far as you can, and then same thing. See how far you can come first. Ooh, getting a little stretch already. And then maybe a little bit more of a lean. Doesn't have to be a lot here. You don't have to fold all the way over, especially if you're already getting a stretch in the right outer thigh. Then you can just stay here. Just breathe for a moment. And then we'll switch, very carefully unwinding. And whichever version felt better on the first side, we'll take that version on this side as well. So if you're really flexible on both sides, if you feel like you've got that full range, coming into the sitting pigeon posture. I'm trying to bring your shoulder in line with your knee that's down here. It's on the same side. So rather than leaning like all the way over or over your upper knee here, I'm going to try to come straight down towards the foot that's on the floor. Just trying to keep that line in mind. And then coming back up. And we're going to bring both legs out. So as far as you would like to bring the legs in a sitting position, I'm just going to do a little bit more of a stretch for the inner thighs here. So see how far you can walk those feet out. Make sure your knees stay over top of your ankles. And same thing, we're going to do just a little bit of a tilt here and see if you can come to lean forward. If you have a coffee table here that you can put your hands on, or a stack of boxes, whatever you need for a little bit of support, should start to feel a little bit of a stretch in the upper inner thigh here. You might feel a little bit more of a stretch still in the hips. If it feels okay for your knees and your shoulders, you can bring your hands just a little bit on the insides of the knees. Give yourself a little bit of pressure. And maybe even bringing the shoulders into it a little bit more, pushing against one knee at one time. And just maybe seeing if you can bring that shoulder a little bit down. As long as you don't feel any pain in the spine, in the hip joints, in the knees, in the shoulders. Just trying to see what stretch works best for you. Maybe the forearms can come down to the insides of the knees, as long as it doesn't hurt your back here. As long as your back, again, isn't really flexing a whole lot here. We don't really like hunching over a lot. Trying to keep your chest lifted. Keep your belly button pulling back towards your lower spine and just 1 inch higher. And then we'll come up and make our way to the floor for our last few postures. So if it's comfortable to come down to the ground and get the legs straight, or as straight as possible. They might still be a little bit bent, and you can use blankets, pillows, folded up towels, anything just to give yourself a little bit of support here if you need it. But try and get your thighs all the way down to the floor. Even if they're a little bit supported, see if you can really reach the backs of your thighs towards the floor, and then we'll try that little pelvic tilt again. If you can get your knees all the way down. If you're still working on getting them down, then just stay here and just work on getting them down. If you can get them all the way down, then we'll do that little pelvic tilt again and bring our whole spine forward. So back of your head to your sacrum all moves in one solid line. As far as you can before you start to feel a stretch in either the inner thighs or the hamstrings. Use your hands to support yourself here. Maybe you get all the way down to forearms, but you don't have to. As soon as you feel the stretch, you can just stay there. And very slowly coming up. And we'll bring the legs to one side, maybe supporting the knee. Legs sometimes need a little bit of help. And we'll lie down just right on the back. And we'll do just a little bit of a spinal twist here. So very gently letting both knees, bring your heels out just out of reach of your fingers. Hips, heels about hip distance apart. And then we'll get the knees to very gently come over to one side. Say right side first. Lift the left arm up towards the ceiling. And let the left arm come down towards left side and look towards your left hand. Bring your right hand, if you can, to the outside of that left hip and breathe into the left hip. Sending all of that oxygen with every inhale to the outside of the left thigh, a little bit to the left back as well, left side of the spine. And then let the right hand go out to the right side. And sigh. Now we'll bring the knees up, making sure our heels are still in line with the hips. And then we'll let the knees come over to the left. Bring the right arm up towards the ceiling and then out towards the right side. Bring your left hand to your right hip and breathe. Send all of your inhales, all those oxygen bubbles, or molecules rather. We don't want oxygen bubbles. To your left hand on your right hip, the right side of the lower back. And then we'll release that left hand back down to the ground. And take a sigh here. And then we'll bring everything back towards center for our final posture here. If you'd like to grab a pillow for your head, you totally can. If you have lower back pain, you can keep the knees bent, scoop your tailbone a little bit, and find what's comfortable here. You might find it's a little more comfortable even to have a pillow under the knees instead, or two pillows. Or keeping the feet just a little bit wider than hips here and letting the knees fall in. We'll let the backs of the hands come towards your mat or your carpet. And just a couple more of those really deep inhales and exhales. So breathing in as much air as you can. And blowing out the candle. Big inhale through the nose, as much air as you can possibly get into your torso, into your hips, and then blowing out that candle in a slow, controlled exhale from your mouth. One more big inhale in, as much air as you can possibly breathe in, and then breathe in just a little bit more, and exhale. And staying here in this quiet moment just for you for a few more minutes if you can. Just breathing naturally, letting your shoulders relax and melt into the floor, letting your hips relax and melt into the floor, letting your jaw relax as your head melts into the floor, letting your feet relax as your heels and your toes melt into the floor. And keeping your fingers relaxed as your hands melt into the floor. One more inhale in through the nose. This time breathing out through the mouth like you're fogging a mirror. Whenever you're ready, very carefully rolling on to one side. And slowly coming up to a seated position. Cross-legged if you can. Or just crossing ankles or whichever position you find more comfortable. Maybe just chilling here for a second. And we'll inhale, lift the arms all the way up overhead. Bring the palms together. Exhale as you're fogging up the mirror, hands to heart. Thank you so much for joining me for your practice today. I hope that this routine was okay for your knees and your wrists and your shoulders and your soul. Bye.